Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines we have here. We got Michael S. Barr in the news, Operation Choke Point 2.0, former CFTC commissioner talking about the Binance suit. Bank of Japan, central bank digital currencies. Is there a Ripple connection? We're going to take a look at it. Christine Lagarde from the ECB, EU Banking Federation, and a digital euro. Cathie Wood from ARK Investing says SEC is on the way to a loss. And how about this? XRP technical analyst says $10, $27. And guess what else? Who wants to talk about what's going on right now? It's a 57-cent XRP. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter for exclusive content. Right now, $1.23 trillion market cap for crypto. We're up 5% on the cryptocurrency market. Good morning, everybody. Bitcoin, 28,500 plus, 5.7% on the 24-hour. Ethereum, 18.15 and 56 cents. And it's at 4% up on the 24-hour. Tether market cap, 79.8 plus billion. Keeping an eye on it, ladies and gentlemen. XRP, 55 cents on CoinGecko. It's up 10.7% on the 24-hour, 17.9 on the 7-day. But Fiat Link has it, and I think it's a difference of the spread or not. 57 cents, and it's been as high as 59 cents right here in just the last hour or so. Pretty remarkable what we're watching, and so is this. In just another hour, it is going to be available. PolySign on Link2. If you're accredited, don't mess around. It's been 2 weeks before they could get another block of this on. How much longer and how many more times that'll be available, none of us will ever really know. But I tell you what, you better do what I'm going to do, because I think I'm going to swing at this one when it gets on there today. I cannot wait. Make sure you check out. Click the link to my sponsor underneath the video. All right, here we start with this. Federal Reserve Vice Chairman Michael Barr at the Senate hearing U.S. bank failures. $100 billion was scheduled to go out the door the day at Silicon Valley Bank is what we're talking about here. And the bank did not have enough collateral to meet, and therefore they were not able to actually meet the obligations to pay their depositors over the course of that day, and they were shut down. Listen to what he says very quickly here. Let me get this queued up. I thought I had it. Here we go.
Senator, I'll start where you did, which is this is a textbook case of bank mismanagement. The risks the bank face, interest rate risk and liquidity risk, those are bread and butter banking issues. The firm was quite aware of those issues. They had been told by regulators. Investors were talking about problems with interest rate and liquidity risk publicly. And they didn't take the action necessary. They were quite vulnerable to risk, to shocks, and they didn't take the actions necessary to meet that.
Now, what I find interesting about this is he admits that regulators knew what the situation was there. I'm interested as to what it actually takes for a regulator to take action and what it actually takes to get the SEC to actually only take action when it applies to their jurisdiction. Oh, what a world we're living in. But there's where we have that today. Now, Operation Choke Point 2.0 deprives businesses of their constitutional rights due to due process in violation of the Fifth Amendment, the firm said. And it says here, now this is actually just, bear with me, we'll get here. So in violation of the Fifth Amendment, the firm said, it says Operation Choke Point 2.0 violates the non-delegation doctrine and the anti-commandeering doctrine, depriving Americans of key structural constitutional protections against the arbitrary exercise of governmental power. Well said. U.S. bank regulators waging secret war on crypto, says law firm, and it's absolutely accurate. Now, I'm not going to read the whole article to you here, but, look, Silicon Valley Bank, they had some things they weren't doing right. Michael S. Barr told us that. But don't forget about Signature Bank. Signature Bank and Barney Frank from Signature Bank told all of us they were not insolvent. How interesting. There is absolutely a war being waged a secret war being waged against crypto, no doubt about it. Here is Senator Sinema in Senate Banking Committee hearing March 28, just yesterday, to Michael S. Barr as well. And when the people on Reddit and Twitter can spot bank mismanagement before the regulators, something is terribly wrong. This is exactly what I was talking about as well. Take a listen here. Why didn't the regulators act? Because Michael S. Barr admitted that they knew.
The failure of Silicon Valley Bank on the Federal Reserve's watch very clearly calls into question whether or not some of that trust was misplaced. Make no mistake, the lion's share of the blame is on incompetent bank executives. And it's outrageous that these people took bonuses and sold stock in the days leading up to the bank's failure. We should hold these executives accountable for the fullest extent of the law and claw back those bonuses and stock sales. I'm co-sponsoring a bill to do just that. But as I laid out in a letter to you, Vice Chair Barr, that, by the way, was signed by 11 other senators spanning the ideological spectrum, it's gravely concerning that retail participants, literally just regular everyday people, were able to figure out that something was wrong with Silicon Valley Bank before your regulators took appropriate action. Now, these folks don't have access to non-public information like the bank examiners do. But when people on Reddit and Twitter can spot bank mismanagement before the regulators, something is terribly wrong.
Something is terribly wrong. And I don't think you can say it any better than that. And speaking of terribly wrong, let's take a look at what's going on here really quickly.
You mentioned level of detail. What from the CFTC complaint really stuck out to you?
Well, look, this is not simply a complaint that says this is an offshore platform which is trading contracts, futures contracts, which in the U.S. can only be traded on a registered exchange, and therefore, you should have had procedures to block access by U.S. persons, or you failed to have those procedures or failed to adequately enforce them. This complaint basically says that Binance and Zhao himself deliberately and systematically cultivated U.S. business, helped U.S. persons get around those restrictions, and even did things internally to try to hide how much U.S. business they were doing. If you read the complaint, there is so much detail to it. It suggests that they did have some information from people inside. And so that's what I mean by the level of detail.
It is concerning, and we're going to keep you up to date as we get more of that. I personally think they're going after the poster child of unregulated exchanges to make a point, and I don't think they're going to stop until they make it, because I see Congress doing nothing to intervene. Now let's take a look at this. Bank of Japan says central banks need to be ready to issue CBDC to offer the public a safe digital payment system. Crypto Cowboy reminds us here of all the things we've seen along the way here. Back in 22 of November, Bank of Japan to run CBDC experiments with country analysis. Bank of Japan decision will ripple around the world. December 22. Then take a look at this, and we know that Ripple has incredible relationships with SBI and a huge percentage of banks in Japan. Bank in Japan will integrate a Ripple application in ATMs. And then there's this right here. SBI CEO, every bank in Japan will use Ripple's XRP by 2025. That was back in 2019. So the connections are something that we want to watch very closely to see if there's any development or more maturity to reveal a deep intertwined relationship and connection with Ripple or XRP in the future. Christine Lagarde, central banks must keep up with digital innovation to ensure payments are dependable and the financial system remains stable. Are we all picking up on what's happening here? While the crypto world is getting crushed and the retail investors being made to feel that nothing will be here tomorrow, it's all going away, right? The central banks are rolling out and making their declaration that we need to be a part of this digital innovation. And I have a sneaky suspicion that once they are a part of it, boy, it will be okay to buy as much as you want of it as long as it's from them. That'll be the central banks that you'll be buying it from them. But once they release their central bank digital currencies, that will be your on and off ramp. Don't forget when Christine Lagarde was the IMF director before becoming the European Central Bank president. There's old Brad Garlinghouse standing there in the picture, just to remind us all. Thanks to Aurora for that. And then we take a look at this. European Banking Federation shares its vision of a digital euro, a WCBDC here, wholesale, but they're also talking about a retail one as well. But in this, they say, the EBF, the European Banking Federation, ecosystem vision emphasized the role of the private sector in all aspects, beginning with infrastructure, where Europe needs to lessen dependence on outside actors. The ecosystem would contain 3 elements: the digital euro, a wholesale central bank digital currency, and a bank-issued money tokens. It says here in the EBF vision, the digital euro should have 3 levels with the European Central Bank role and 2 industry levels. The first of 2 interact with a single euro payments area in the industry level B. That would be subsequently developed and operated by the private sector in compliance with the principles set out to the previous layers. Those principles have yet to be developed fully, the paper continued. The European market needs the authorities to clarify the interaction of different and converging policy objectives, especially when it comes to the development of pan-European payment solutions at the point of sale, point of interaction. It goes on here to say that the paper was careful to refer to blockchain technology only in reference to certain parts of the envisioned ecosystem, a wholesale CBDC, where interoperability is key to enabling cross-border transactions with central bank money, was assumed to operate on distributed ledger technology. So that's about all they're going to give us out of that article. Something else to watch closely, knowing that Ripple is a part of the Digital Euro Association. Cathie Wood, from ARK Invest, CEO, tells us that she thinks the SEC looks set to lose in the Ripple case, and that was basically based on the recent positives we've seen in other cases like Grayscale and Voyager, where the SEC is not getting its way, and she believes that basically saying that the SEC will not get its way in the Ripple case as well. She doesn't provide any further information, even though it's a good article. It doesn't provide any other further information. But what we want to talk about now is this. We covered the XRP diamond bottom pattern from Eggrag Crypto, and shout out to him for this here. $10 update. Now, what we know is that inside of this, we need to stay above the 50-55 cent range for the $10 potential to be a possible conversation, right? So it is not a guarantee, right? It's not financial advice. You guys know this, but I got to say it. But the reality is, because it's sitting above that 50-55 cent range, we need to start watching this extremely closely. And if that's going to pan out, then we could talk about further expansion down the road where we could see the troposphere touched or crossed. And that would put us at the $27 mark. Now, if you notice here, this appears to look to be like towards the end of 2023, 2024. So if that were to be something to continue to play out on the charts, it tells me that we might see that scenario like we did in 2017, 2018, right at the end of the year. If it continues to play out and the charts stay aligned, that maybe we do see that big jump and that big shock that we see occasionally out of XRP like we did in 2017, 2018. We don't know for sure, but I tell you, it's exciting to watch the price move in the right direction and to look at all the possibilities that could be, because it could also go down, right? We got to keep that in mind too. I hate to be the one to say it, but we got to watch all of it, the up and the down. That's going to do it for me. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.